Good afternoon, boys and girls, and welcome to Science. Today for Science, I would like to talk to you about measurement. I want you to look closely at the screen. I'm going to measure Mrs. Collins' composition notebook. But what I'd like to do is I'd like to turn it this way so I can measure going down the spine of the notebook. Now, in science, we've been talking about measuring using different forms of measurement. I'm going to choose to measure with cubes today. I'm also going to measure using paper clips. And then I'd also like to measure using a marker. Now, as you can notice, all three of these objects are different sizes, different shapes, and different lengths. If you remember from earlier in the week, I told you that you cannot measure an object using all three different things at one time. That just doesn't make sense. You would not get an accurate measurement if you did that. But what you can do is you can use the same type of measuring tool to measure the book, like I'm going to do. First, I'm going to measure using cubes. I'm going to start all the way over here at the end, and I'm not going to have any spaces, no spaces in between. They need to be right next to each other to get an accurate or correct measurement. So let me see how many cubes long my notebook is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, and it has to be straight. It can't be crooked, or that's not going to give you a correct measurement either. Let me get back to where I was. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So if you notice when I measured using cubes, yes, I used different color cubes, but these cubes are the same size, so I can use different colors. My notebook is, I'm going to write it down right here, 11 cubes long. Okay? All right, so I'm going to take those cubes off. This time I'm going to measure using my markers. 1, 2. Oh my goodness, and actually it goes over just a little bit over here. So it's less than 2 markers long. Okay, so I have a question. Why did it take so many more cubes than markers when both times I measured the same object? I used cubes the first time. I used markers the second time. Look at the size difference between the marker and the cube. If you use a small object to measure something, you will need more of them. If you use a bigger object, you will need less of them. So I know this is more than 2, but we're going to go ahead and say that it was 2 markers long. So we have 11 cubes and 2 markers. I'm going to use one more tool. This time I'm going to use a measuring tool called a paper clip. I'm going to use the paper clips this time to see how many paper clips long my notebook is. I'm not going to stack them on top of each other, and I'm not going to leave a space. I'm going to make them touch side by side the whole way down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. My notebook is about 8 paper clips long. Let's think about that. We measured with 3 different objects and got 3 different answers. Remember, boys and girls, the cubes were smaller than the paper clips. That's why we needed more cubes than paper clips. The paper clips were smaller than the markers, so we needed more paper clips than markers to measure. So remember this when you are measuring, boys and girls, no matter which measuring tool you use, the size does make a difference on your answer. If the object is bigger, you're going to need less items to measure with. If the object is smaller, you're going to use more objects to measure with, just like our numbers over here. We had 11 cubes, 2 markers, and 8 paper clips. I hope you enjoyed our lesson today in science. I know you've been working so hard this week on sorting, measuring their capacity, their mass or their weight, heavier or lighter, their length, and size. Thank you for being good listeners. Have a good afternoon. Bye-bye.